Hi, I'm Phil DeSalvo. I play Libero for two volleyball teams, Volleyball CZU Praha and also Volleyball Team Australia. Alright, so I play with two different teams, and with the national team, when with the RAS, we do conditioning 3 times a week in the gym, normally Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And same with my club, only the days are different, so we go Monday, Tuesday and Thursday. So with national team we normally lift pretty hard all week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. With my club, Monday and Thursday are normally the harder sessions, and Tuesday's more of a conditioning session. On top of these sessions, I normally do a bit of individual work. I dislocated my shoulder a couple of years ago and had a reconstruction, and I still do a fair bit of rehab on that during the week. And also, while I'm with my club or national team, I also try and do a bit of cardio each week, just because I found when I was rehabbing my shoulder that when I did a lot more cardio I was holding my concentration on court. So I do a fair bit of that during the week as well. Alright, so with our national team, our weights program pretty much revolves around power, mostly in the legs. And for me as a libero, or some of my main exercises in the gym are squat and clean. My best ever squat for 3 reps, 130 kilos, and my best ever clean for 1 rep is 95 kilos. As I'm a libero, I'm a bit smaller than some of the other guys. Some of the other guys in the national team can lift a bit of weight. At the moment, Chica, or Brett Alderman, our setter, is squatting around 170 kilos for 3 reps. Some of the guys benching a bit over 100. People like Ben Hardy, Luke Campbell, they also lift a fair bit with their legs as well. They normally clean up around 110, 115 kilos I think, but during the national team phase we haven't got a lot of time before we go on tour, so a lot of the time we can't lift our maximum because we're training so much each day, so it's sometimes hard to get an indication of everyone's maximum weights they can. Alright, so when I was just starting the Australian Volleyball League in Australia, and just before I was searching for my first professional contract in 2005, I had a bit of a training accident, dislocated my shoulder. It happened when I collided with a teammate pretty much when I was going for a ball, and I just moved a bit funny and there was a bit of force involved and it popped out. And pretty much it popped out and I jumped up and I knew I'd dislocated it straight away, so I sort of yelled out a few swear words and sprinted out of the gym and started running towards physio, and on the way I ran into a doctor who was on his way home, but pretty soon realised I was in a bit of trouble, so he sort of slowly took me into the physio department at the Australian Institute of Sport, and I decided the best thing to do was to get in straight away. So I had a doctor and a physio and my coach holding me down while I had another physio trying to yank my shoulder back in with a towel around me. Like, I can't remember exactly how it happened because I was in a fair bit of shock obviously, but they couldn't. They tried I think 3 times to get it back in, and they couldn't get it because all the muscles were just spasming around it. So I had to drive to the hospital in Canberra, and I got to the hospital and my coach took me there, and when I got there they weren't too keen to put it straight back in case I'd fractured some of the bones or something like that, so I had to go get an x-ray of my shoulder while I was still dislocated, and that was pretty painful because I was in there and they were trying to get the right angle for the shot, and they were saying, you know, just move your shoulder up and move it to the right, move it to the left, and I'm like, hang on, I've got a dislocated shoulder here, like, can't expect me to move it around too much. But we finally got the shots, and then they got and developed, and there was, you know, not too much damage to the structure of my bones. From what I understand, that's why they took the shots, and so they put me to sleep and they popped it back in, and I woke up and my shoulder's back in, and they said at first that maybe it'll be alright a few weeks and I'll be able to strengthen it back up and play without surgery, until I had my MRI and went and saw a specialist, and said my shoulder's cactus and they're just going to have to reconstruct it. So I pretty much had a full shoulder reconstruction, and I had that in early November 2005, so I was quite quick, within 2 weeks I think it was, of dislocating my shoulder. I was already on the surgery table. I had my surgery, and pretty much the week after that I did nothing. Everything hurt. And then I sort of started doing some slow rehab, and the first rehab that I did was actually just taking my arm out of the sling in the shower and just let my arm dangle side by side. After that, or as well as that, I actually had a sling, and attached to the sling was a little rubber ball, and I got that each day and just sat there and squeezed it and stuff like that. Once my arm started getting a bit better, I had a lot of problems with range of movement, and a month after my surgery I was doing a lot of, this is back home, I went away from the institute, I was doing a lot of TheraBand exercises, and this was during Christmas at the end of 2005, which made my rehab a little bit easier at that time because I had my family around and my little cousins had come and pull on TheraBands with me as well. They thought it was fun, but me, not really. And yeah, I started pulling on TheraBands and doing push-ups against the wall, and I did that until I returned back to the institute in January. In January I started getting my physio, and the physio was great at the institute. I was getting physio 5 days a week, so Monday through to Friday. I was also getting massage 3 times a week, which was good to help out my range. But the thing was that after 3 months of physio, I stopped increasing my range, and when I initially got my surgery, it was supposed to be 4 to 6 month recovery. It ended up being 8 months because I had frozen shoulder. So I could lift my arm up about this high, and I couldn't lift it any higher than that, and it was just stuck there for maybe 3 weeks, and the physios wanted me to have another surgery, and the specialist, I kept on bouncing backwards and forwards, so the specialist didn't want me to do it, so pretty much did everything under the earth to try and get the range back in my shoulder, and it pretty much turned into I wasn't allowed to get the surgery because the surgeon wouldn't do it. He said it would loosen up naturally. The physios wanted to push it along because for me the World Championships were coming up and I really wanted to play in these for volleyball, but at this stage it was looking like it wasn't even really a possibility, so the physios just laid me down on my back and I put my arm up in the air and they pretty much just started hanging on it and forcing it down each day, which is pretty painful. I did that pretty much every day for about 2.5 months. And then yeah, eventually the shoulder started to loosen up and I started to get back on the court, and because I didn't have my range I could only pass with my arms, which is actually good for my footwork and moving on the court, because I had to move fast because I could only pass the ball, I couldn't take it on my hands. So but yeah, once I got a bit more range back, I started doing everything that I could to just make my shoulder better to get ready for Worlds. So I was pretty much in physio every day pulling on TheraBands. That was one of the main things I did for my rehab, and we've got some other machines in there that I don't know how to describe them, but I worked with them each day. And also I was swimming each day, and pretty much outside of that I was just trying to get as many reps in volleyball away from like having to take the ball on my hands. And yeah, I just persisted with that for ages, and I ended up getting selected for the World Championships because my shoulder came alright. Still wasn't perfect, but good enough to play. And ever since then it's been a really slow process. Like, my shoulder's still really tight, and I can show you because like with my left arm I can bend it down like this, and with my right arm it just doesn't go. So it's still tight, but every day it gets a tiny bit looser, and it's just something I still work with. Like every day I pull on a TheraBand, and now I can do push-ups and upper body work, and not really heavy weights because it hurts it, but it's just a gradual process of getting a little bit stronger each day.